Mic check. Let's check this sound before we get started. Last time my sound was terrible. So it's really make sure my sound is good. Come on. Get sound before we get started. Last time my sound. I think audio checks out. Sound was terrible. So it's really make sure my sound is good. Yeah, it looks like the audio checks out. So let's do the damn thing. What is going on, Florida State family, Seminole Nation, and the 863 tribe? This is your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the goddamn truth. Hold on a second. 2 weeks ago, we previewed some recruiting and we went over a bunch of different prospects, and we had people, asking questions. Should they be concerned about recruiting? Well, big recruiting weekend happens, and then a week later, here we are. Since that video, FSU has had 3 blue chippers, 4 stars commit to the tribe of 25. And of course, that's what we're going to chop it up here about tonight on this Friday night for you all, Saturday morning for me. We are out here doing what we do best. And let's talk some FSU football. As always, hit the like, subscribe, share the video, whether you're on Twitter or X or YouTube. Share the video for your boy as we continue to do our thing. I would say week in and week out, but whenever I usually get on here. By the way, the 863 Dynasty is up and running. At least the Discord is. I actually think I got just about everybody. I think I got 1 spot left. We got 11 people in there so far. I think I got 1 spot left. And that spot might be taken. I just got to verify it. So as of right now, the 863 Dynasty for the new NCAA game looks like it's about to be live and in effect. So if you didn't get into that, that's your fault, because I put it out there. And pretty much everybody that hit me up got a spot. So unless you was on Xbox. And if you're playing on Xbox, what are you doing? Like, come on. If you're playing on Xbox, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Before we get started, man, we're going to hit a quick roll call real quick. We're going to talk about all 3 of those commits. We also are going to talk about a couple of other guys that are trending FSU's way. We'll probably just do another overview of all the recruiting like we did 2 weeks ago. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to get in here. We're going to do a quick roll call. And then we're going to waste no more time, man. We're going to get right into the conversation piece. So let's scroll up to the top of the chat. Actually, I'll give y'all a little bit to get in there, get in the chat, say what up, and then make this roll call and get it popping. We got Island Boy in the building. Terrell Thomas, Peter Shields, Richard Price, Jay Adams, No 850 Grill Master, Vontae B, Peter Shields, ML1219, Jay Hutch. Did I say Vontae? I might have. I'm saying Vontae again. Jen Fari, Brandon Brazier. I ain't seen you in a minute, Brandon. How you been? Tyler in the building. And yeah, I'm always going to butcher that one. So we're just going to put it up there. Pistino. That's how I'm pronouncing it. Pistino. PS5 is expensive. It's actually cheaper than the Xbox. Terrell, I'm sorry for you. Caveman is also in the building. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share. Most of y'all probably already subscribed. So just hit the like, share the video, and of course get in that comment section, because this is the most interactive show on YouTube when it comes to the Florida State fans. Y'all already know how we get down. I legit talk to every last one of y'all. Let's get into it, man. Let's start sharing this screen. First of all, let's take a look at. We're gonna go to On Three. It's the difference between 247 and On Three is so interesting to me. Don't know what that is. I don't know, but I'm gonna take a look at On Three first, because On Three actually has Florida State. As you see right there, 12th overall in the country as far as recruiting. Again, you're going to see the contrast when we go to 247, how vastly it differs. But it differs in positive parts on each site. So, for instance, we are much higher ranked on On Three than we are on 247 as far as our national rank. But our class score on Three is actually lower than it is on 247. And we'll get into all of that. But here you go. Solomon Thomas, of course, 5-star. Pretty much a consensus 5-star, as you see right here, with the only site that doesn't have him as a 5-star, according to On Three, is On Three. On Three, for whatever reason, as you can see right here, they have him as. First of all, they have him as an interior, where I believe 247 has him as an offensive tackle. I'm not 100% positive. They have him as the 41 overall player in the country, while you can look on there, 247 has basically almost has him as a top 20 guy. ESPN has him as damn near a top 10 guy, and Rivals has him as damn near a top 10 guy. So he's lower on Three's board for whatever reason. Almost a consensus 5-star. As far as I'm concerned, he's a 5-star, but not a consensus 5-stars terms of in the online the On Three industry ranking, which is basically what the 247 composite is for them. He is a 5-star on their industry ranking. Let's go back. Second, Javian Hilson, as we know, another big-time blue chipper. The number one, well, depending on what site you're looking at, the number one defensive edge guy in the country. And before we get into our guys, we're going to do a rundown of the guys that have been committed. There you see him right there. Industry ranking, top 40 guy by On Three. On Three has him as a top 60 guy. 247 is really high on him. Number 3 edge, top 40 guy. ESPN, and then Rivals has him as the number 1 edge in the entire nation. Pretty much a top 20 guy, according to Rivals. That's Javian Hilson, FSU's premier defensive end recruit or commit in this class. But as you'll see, we're not done on the D line. Next up is C.J. Wiley, one of the recent. Get out of here, War Chant. I don't care about you. One of the recent commits FSU has had. His rankings are all over the place. We're going to take a look at this guy. But he's a big, tall, lanky receiver. Got good weight on him, too. He's a big receiver. The industry rankings has him as a top 100 guy. On Three has him as a top 50 guy. 247 is not that high on him for whatever reason. As you can see right there, he's a 223rd player in the nation. ESPN, kind of the same thing. And then Rivals has him as a top 70 guy. So they're pretty high on him. I think he's the only wide receiver commit so far. As FSU lost out on Moore, who went to the Gators, they picked up C.J. Wiley. Myon Charles here, man. This is the guy that we got today. A big-time defensive tackle. A lot of people thought maybe he was trending elsewhere. As you can see here on the 247 Texas, I think Texas and Florida, I believe, were the main two teams that were in the running for him. On Three, way higher on him than pretty much everybody else. 247, ESPN, Rivals, all kind of in the same ballpark when it comes to evaluating Charles. On Three tends to believe he's damn near a top 50 player in the country, and his industry ranking has him as a top 125 basically player in the country. And Myon Charles, our most recent commit as of today, tonight, this morning for me. Again, it is 9. What time is it? 9 a.m. in the morning, I believe. What time is it? 11. It's 11. So it's afternoon. Korea time. And then we got Trammell. And then we got Ethan Pritchard. But let's get into the guy. Oh, I skipped Kevin Wynn. I didn't realize I skipped him. Kevin Wynn. That's can't believe I skipped that one. Hold on. Let's go back. There he is. Kevin Wynn. Rivals doesn't even have him ranked nationally. On 3 has him as a top 200 guy. 247. Now, this is the difference, right? Where on 3 is higher on Myron. 247 is higher on Wynn. Both are excellent gets, and we're going to go over that. But 247 basically that's a top 50 guy in the country and a top 10 guy out of the state of Georgia. That's Kevin Wynn, all 6'2", 325 of him. Let's get into these guys. Do y'all really want to look at the 247 and just see the contract? We don't really need to, but I want to get into. I want to cover CJ first. I'm gonna tell you why, and I don't want to come off as the negative Nancy. Okay, I really don't. Let me bring Mr. Wiley up here on the screen for you guys. Again, and I don't want to be the negative Nancy, but I think everybody at this point understands or is aware of this recruiting process here with this young man. Everybody had him going to Georgia. He surprised what looked like everybody in the audience. His family looked surprised. And then his comments after the commitment. Look, again, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be whatever those of you will accuse me of being. But anytime a guy goes, I'm committed, but I'm not shutting down. I'm still talking. I haven't signed. You committed and then proceeded to say everything that everybody, wouldn't. It's like telling a girl, we dating, but I'm not going to stop talking to this other girl. And then I got this other girl over here and I got shorty down the street. So why we just agreed to start dating? That's essentially what Wiley did the same day he committed. Again, take it for what it's worth. Whether or not you think he's going to be in the class or not will be up for debate for the entire recruiting cycle. We know how these play out. Wiley is not – that recruitment's not done by his own admission by a long shot. So I want to cover him first because I don't know if Wiley ends up in the class. While I feel very comfortable about the other two guys that we got. But I do want to take a look at Wiley and just get everybody's thoughts on them. So before we continue, let me go to the comment section. And what do y'all think about his comments? Like, what do y'all think about his comments? Are we a little worried about those comments? Is it just like I always tell y'all guys? In 2024 in recruiting, if you're losing sleep over anything, you're just doing it to yourself. Enjoy it while it lasts. When a guy commits, when he decides to decommit, that's the way you got to play this. But I know some people, man, they take this stuff. They take this stuff kind of serious. As you know, some of these guys is going to be the first time we watch them here tonight because I don't recover recruiting as hard as I used to. But I am curious to know what are some of y'all's thoughts on the man, CJ Wiley, in terms of you got to commit from him, but if we just keeping it 100, are Florida State fans comfortable? Let's see. Let's get to the comments. CJ Wiley was a wild one. Dugans, too, with CJ. A lot of smoke for Chase. We'll talk about Chase here. That's the Nebraska tight end. We'll talk about him shortly, but I want to give some focus on the guys that we currently have committed. This man said he got a game cast. Dreamcast? Or are we talking about something different? Dog Nation was mad at Wiley commit. From what I saw, man, a lot of Dog Nation, again, going to his comments, I don't think they're worried about his current commitment. I hate to say it, but once they heard his comments, everybody was like, okay. He is whatever. Might be an NIL play if is what it looks like to me. Excuse me. Only Georgia riders show up for his commitment. But the crazy thing is Georgia now has 6 wide receiver commits. So I think he sticks. Okay. That's an interesting take. I think it's a very smart one, but just based off, like you said, well, Georgia already has 6 wide receivers. But since you bring that up, I actually want to look at Georgia's receivers because I think you make a good point. But let's see who the receivers are because, and I'll bring it up on the. Okay, y'all can see it. So I got it on the screen for y'all to see. Because if Wiley's better than, so the top receiver right now in Georgia's class is a guy out of Illinois named Taylor. Then from there we got a 3-star, a 3-star, and another 3-star. So while I think your premise was spot on, I got to tell you, if Wiley was to flip, he's arguably the best or second best receiver in the class. You would push one of these 3-stars out the class. You would take Wiley's commitment straight up. Get Bud, get off my. Let me get Bud off my. You got your own show, Bud. Get him off. You know what? Just let me just stop sharing. Yeah, as I'm looking at Georgia's class, if they want Wiley, then they're gonna recruit Wiley. They have 1 4-star receiver committed. So again, I agree. 1 4-star as far as 247 goes. As far as the composite goes, they have 3 4-stars, but these other 2 barely making 4-star status. You're talking about Thomas Blackshear, nationally ranked 329, and then you're talking about Tyler Williams out of Armwood, nationally ranked 376. So, again, I want to agree with you, but then when you look at the actual commitments, Wiley's the second best guy. Hell, actually, Wiley would be the second best guy, a legit blue chip wide receiver in Georgia's class. Georgia's not going to turn him down just because they have some other 3-stars committed. Jay Adams says the whole ceremony fell off. Grillmaster says it's just standard recruiting with Wiley, honestly. Keep in mind, though Georgia reporters were hounding him after the commitment, he was saying whatever in that awkward situation. Maybe, possibly. Florida State fans have seen the same thing. We got a guy, and then our reporters hound him afterward. I mean, I think KJ Bolden might have been a great example of that last year. Peter says, I'm cool with it. He's in the class, got good tape. Looks like a faster Keon. What's up, Irv? UJ hasn't signed a top receiver since 2020. And look, Let's Get It says he thinks they're going to take all of them. Okay. So let's look at Wiley here for a second. This is actually going to be my first time checking out his tape, so we're going to watch it together. But again, I just want to put that out there with CJ Wiley. He's a guy who committed, but again, the words after didn't reflect the commitment. But I think everybody brings up the valid points as far as just telling Georgia reporters what they want to hear, maybe. And always keeping your options open anyway, as I think any smart player should do. Keep your options open. You never know what's going to happen on the trail. You never know what bag's going to be thrown at you. So as a fan, yeah, sure, we would love for everybody to shut it down, right? The truth is, everybody's not going to shut it down. So let's check out CJ here, and we'll watch him as a family. If I can get the thing, there we go. Can y'all see it on this? Okay, y'all can see it on the screen. All right, let's see what we got. Big wide receiver. That's the first thing that obviously stands off the tape. That's just terrible, terrible DB play, but it's high school. It's like a big fluid athlete, though. I think On3 has him listed as 210. He looks every bit of 210 pounds. This green team, he is whooping. He's spanking their ass. Okay, here we go. Bum. He's just better than everybody, and I want to see like some long strider there. I don't know. I want to see some contested catches. He's doing what he's supposed to do, obviously, in these. Maybe we get a jump ball here on the goal line. That'd be nice to see. Okay, he's out there. Fade route. Quarterback threw a terrible pass, but he got it in there. Got solid speed for sure. He doesn't. I think he's just a long strider where he doesn't look like he's moving, right? But he's faster than it appears. Most of these have been very easy catches, right? So I haven't seen a lot of catching, right, with the hands. Like even right there, he lets the ball get into his chest. I think in most of these passes has seemed to be that. Right there, he brings it in with his hands. That's a good catch. But I mean, him and the QB have pretty much played pitch and catch this entire highlight tape. Like right there, again, catches it in his body. But 24, you never stood a chance, so just stop running. We're going to take it 99 yards. This would be nice. Throws it deep. Yeah, he's going to go 99. 24. Again, you don't have a chance. I'm sorry, 24. That's back-to-back. He wears number 4, too. Just notice that. Even there, I would like to see him go with his hands and catch that, right? He lets that come into his body a little too much for me. There you go. There's using your hands on the sideline. Bum. Okay. Good catch. He's got good tape. How much him and more? We got 6 minutes or 3 more minutes on this. There's no way that was a completed catch. Good catch, but he was definitely out of bounds. Okay. Now, it would have been nice to see how he maneuvered in that situation, but at the end of the day, he caught the ball, which is what you're asking a 6'4", 200-pound receiver to do, right? Catch the ball. That's my biggest criticism that I'm seeing in this highlight is he lets the ball get in here. He's catching the ball with his pads too often for my liking. At this level, obviously he's getting away with it because no one's touching him. He's catching it, and no one can put a hand on him. Some of this defense is that flat out terrible. There you go. Finally, he used his hands there to make a catch. But again, a lot of this is pitch and catch. But he's dominating at the level that he, if you're talking about a blue chip receiver, he's doing what he's supposed to do at that level. So I'm not mad at it at all. We better get a block here. What's he doing? You're not the okay, just showing some effort. Okay. About block here. Well, there's one thing I know is Ron Dugans will have him blocking. That much I know, and he looks like a willing blocker. So there's that. What y'all think? Y'all probably have seen the tape before. That's my first time. What y'all think? Anyway, let's get back to the comment section. So they taking 7 receivers. Ain't no way, but I don't know. I guess they need wide receivers. Well, let's see if Dugans can hold up on him. Also said his parents didn't know till he committed, which again probably isn't the best sign, right? If we're just being honest, probably only the best sign, or probably not the best sign when you again if you go watch the video, his parents look. So everybody in that whole recruitment was kind of thrown off. Long time before signing day, we'll end up seeing how it plays out. But and watch out for LSU because both parents are alumni. Okay, so both of his parents maybe went to LSU. Okay. I think we could be optimistic about this class sticking. They could be taking the next step with the relationship built, but who knows? I'm not saying don't be optimistic. I'm simply talking about this single recruit. I'm not talking about the whole class. This single recruit committed and then said his recruitment's still open, about blase. So, yes, we can absolutely be optimistic about the class. I'm simply speaking on C.J. Wiley in this situation. Girlmaster says he's a track guy. POLK, you see Chris Thompson done. We're going to talk about Chris. They sold that KC pitch to Wiley. Led all of Georgia in wide receiver yards. Plays at Milton 7A ball. His QB is a Miami commit. Okay. And we got one of them that is about the same with Elijah Moore. Yeah, we do. Absolutely. I actually agree with that. Elijah Moore, Wiley. Obviously, though, if you look at, we kind of talked about on the last live stream, FSU's targeting bigger body receivers, so they all are fitting together. Yeah, that is C.J. Wiley. So I want to cover him first because there may be a decent chance that Wiley's not, right? That C.J.'s not, doesn't end up in the class. There may be a chance that he does. I'm not saying he will or he won't. I'm simply letting you guys know what happened. He committed and then proceeded to be interviewed saying things that he said. Parents seemed surprised. Everybody in the building seemed surprised. Everybody was expecting Georgia, and instead we got Florida State. Ain't mad at it, but that's a recruitment that is going to have to be continuously monitored and watched all up until December, that early signing period. Let's get into one of my, if y'all are not, well, if you're new here, I'm going to let you know. If you're not new here, you already know. My favorite coach is Odell. My favorite coach is Odell. And in all seriousness, my favorite group, usually on football teams, is the D tackle. That's serious. Now, as far as Odell goes, look, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth about Odell. Okay, I said what I said. As a matter of fact, the two commits that we currently have really speak to what I've been talking about the last 3 years, because these are the highest guys he's recruited in. I don't know. It's 2024. So in about 6-7 years, it's almost been a decade since we've had this caliber of D tackle on the roster. So before you come out here and go, it's been damn near a decade. Eventually, we would hope he could recruit somebody. But I love the D tackle position. Hell, I was probably the only one who made the argument that Braden Fisk was a bigger grab than Keon Coleman. Go check the tape. Y'all know I said it. And maybe was probably right when I said it. So I love the defensive tackle position. Kevin Wynn. I've seen a little bit of his tape. He's like Brock Lesnar on a football field. He suplexes people everywhere. So we're going to watch his tape and check him out here. Your favorite coach is Odell. Now, hey, man. Favorite coach is Odell for a lot of great reasons. Let's look at Kevin Wynn. He is out of Greensboro, Georgia. And then he's built like the prototype. He's built, you need different bodies in that room, but he's low center of gravity, 6'2". Whoops, turned my camera off. We didn't try to do that. Low center of gravity. Here we go. 6'2", 325. Kevin Wynn, man. Like I said, we're gonna check out his tape. Give me a second. I'm actually surprised that 247, On 3 doesn't have a link to watch their highlights. Maybe they do. I just don't know. I don't navigate this website that much, even though I need to start. On 3's gotten a lot better, obviously, since its inception. And I maybe need to start utilizing them a little more. Though I still go to 247 as kind of the go-to. Here, let me bring his 247 profile up and we can watch his tape. I keep turning my camera off. Here we go, 247, there we go. All right. Let's take a look at that junior season. And I've seen a few clips, but this is going to be my first time actually watching the full 3-minute tape. Like I said, from what I've seen, he's Brock Lesnar out there on the field. Back out! First clip. Slamming dudes on their heads. Ugh. He looks like a college player off the bat. If we're just being honest. Again, that low center of gravity, love it, love it, love it. Bam! I can't wait to get a guy like that. Ooh. Man just suplexes everybody. Oh, here we go. He lucky he fell because he was about to get tossed up too. But what I was trying to say before watching all these slams was that's a guy that you can't wait to get into that strength and conditioning program, get that baby fat, that bad weight off of him, turn that mess into muscle. I mean, you have a guy who he could be anchoring your defensive line for the next 3 years. Ooh, look at that. That's impressive. Like let's rewind that. In case you didn't see that he tossed Buddy, and then boom. Man, that clip right there alone Move, bitch. Pow. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Look at that. He runs. That right there is impressive for a guy that size. This looks like a wildcat. So I don't that's the running back. So if you look at the formation, you think you see the quarterback is number 8. This is that's a direct snap to your back, and he walks him down in the backfield. That's impressive at any level, but for a 325 high schooler to be able to do that, I mean, that just tells you that translates. That's going to translate, man. That's impressive. So let's go watch that one more time, because that his back-to-back highlights right here are pretty impressive. First, that clip right there is impressive, and then you go watch it, and that's explosive, man. That's explosive first step at that size. That's what you don't coach. Can't teach that. He's naturally got that. That's just his physical gifts. I think we got us one here in Kevin Wynn, ladies and gentlemen. I thought he was going to run to the sideline and make that tackle, but he kind of, again, man, he can't. He's just stronger than everybody that's trying to block him. In the backfield. Look at that. He's a monster. 63. You never stood a chance. 1. You can't tiptoe with a guy like that around. Forced fumble and recovery. Okay, so apparently he forced the fumble and then got the ball back. So we got about a minute left, so we'll watch it. But I know the suplexes and all that are fun to watch. But, man, really the highlights that you want to take off of this are those 2 that I kept running back to back. Those are the 2 highlights that I think, you talk about translating to college, you talk about becoming a serious defensive tackle at the college level. I think those are the 2 that, if you want to be excited for Wynn, you go look at those 2 highlights. And again, the suplexes are cool, but I mean, you're 325 pounds. You should be suplexing 160-pound high school running backs, right? Those 2 highlights, and I want to finish the clip, and then we'll run those 2 back, because those are the 2 for me that are really that stand out. Anytime he's pass rushing, that really stands out to me. But these 2 clips here, no, it wasn't that one. Was it that one? No, it's not that one. I gotta find it again. They were back to back. No. I think it's this one. Bam! No, it's not that one. Where are the 2 clips? Those are the ones. I should have timestamped those. I don't remember where they were at. I think that's it right there. Yep. Get out of the way, then makes the tackle. That's big boy ball, and then just flat out runs down a skill position player in the back, 10 yards in the backfield. Big time stuff to me. Big time stuff. Wynn is a fist type, quick and disruptive. Wynn and Dennis White goal line packages, sign me up. So Kevin Wynn, man, that's a great get. Good job, Odell Higgins. But Odell didn't stop there, did he? Because today he went out there and he picked up another one. and we're gonna get the look at Myon Charles. He's 6'4", 295. Out of Port Charlotte, Florida. There you see him on the screen. There's all his attributes. Well, let's see how Myon and Wynn stack up. Let's also see how they complement each other. But let's just, at face value, let's just look at their tape versus each other. Because again, one recruiting website has one higher than the other. So let's see who may be potentially right. Make sure you guys, okay, yep, you guys are looking at the same video I'm looking at. Here you see him in the middle. Here you see him clogging the middle. Here he looks like he's playing 3-4N. Number 60, whatever you are. You too little, guy. Gotta get in the weight rooms. Okay. Looks like he's playing. Looks like he played some end and oh, he caught it. He caught the interception for the touchdown. Okay, he's inside here. Rundowns, those similar to Wynn. Now in that situation, let me pause real quick because in that situation, shout out to Myon. In that situation, Wynn would have went for the suplex. Myon said, "You know what? I'm just gonna get in here and toss you down." Wynn would have scooped him up. He's standing up on the edge out here. Definitely an athlete. I mean, he's 6'4", so he's got some length on him. They stand him up. Here he is. I think he's standing up again on the edge. That poor running back. Man, that poor running back. He wanted no part. Look at it. He wants no part. He wanted no parts of blocking that man. I don't blame him. I wouldn't have wanted any parts of it either. I like his work on the inside. He's very strong and very violent in there. And he takes on multiple guys on the inside. He's flashy on the outside, but that busted play. I don't know what happened there. Number 33, by the way. So they used him in a lot of different ways. Obviously, pass rush is his, but they like to put him on the outside and stand him up. They'll put him in the interior, clog the middle. Right here, he's a nose guard in the interior. On the edge, standing up 57. You got embarrassed. It's okay. It happens. Oh, he's playing out there in the flats almost. Okay. 57. Oh, 57 already got embarrassed once. He just said, I'm going to let you go. I ain't playing with you this time. Got about another 3 minutes, 2 hours and 30 seconds of this. 2 minutes, should I say. So he's strong. I think they complement each other very well for the simple fact that Myon is a guy who he could play in a 3-4, obviously. In high school, they stood him up. Probably he's not standing up at college, but he's a guy which you could definitely put as a 5 tech in a 3-4, and win, flat out nose guard, right? Is he playing O? No, that's not O line. I don't know why I thought. But they complement each other. I think when you look at Myon, he definitely seems like the more. I think they're both very good athletes for their size. He might maybe he's just a little bit better in space than Wynn. Wynn being so compact, being shorter, more stout. But I think both guys complement each other, and you'll see both guys playing on the field at the same time, for sure. Um, they both have a lot of the same attributes. I mean, both are pretty explosive. Both are pretty violent. Um, again, athletic, run down guys. They can run guys down. Quick first step. That's not even talking about pairing him with a guy like Javion, who's already committed. So Wynn is heavier. Wynn is a heavier fist, not quite as fast. A 247 on three being so different with Charles and Wynn is so exactly because again, 247 is very high on Wynn. Like 247 thinks he's a damn near top 50 guy in the country. And Charles is down in the 200s. On the flip side, Wynn is down in the 200 on three. And here, let me just show you guys. I mean, let's share Wynn on three. You got Wynn right here. You can see what he is. Now, his industry ranking is one thing, but we're strictly focusing on the on three site. Wynn, there you go. 247 pretty much has him as a top 50 player, top 60 player in the country. On three's got him down here as 214. Then you back out and say, well, let's go take a look at why didn't go back? There we go. You go take a look at Myon Charles. Complete opposite. On three's got him as a top 50 player, but 247's got him down in the 200s. So that's weird to me. They obviously are seeing different things. What it tells me is those two guys, I think, complement each other fairly well. Who's the comp for Charles? Just based off what we watched? So based off what we watched, man. Given the size of him, his body type, I would argue Charles looks more like a Braden Fisk to me. Where Wynn, I don't know when's the last time I don't know the last time we've seen a guy quite like a Kevin Wynn. I do not want to throw out a Jernigan's name here. But that's kind of what he reminds me of, if I'm being blunt. Not saying he's going to be Timmy Jernigan, but when you talk about watching a guy explosive like that, now Jernigan was smaller than Kevin Wynn, but when you talk about watching a guy explosive like that at that size, and then when he gets the guys, he want to slam them and throw them down. I mean, that's number 8. Where I think Myon, in my opinion, plays more like Fisk than Wynn does. So yeah, I mean, by all means, let me know what y'all think. What are y'all's comparisons for these two pretty good blue chip defensive interior defensive linemen? But that, and if I'm not going to use a Kevin Wynn, if I'm not going to use Jernigan, he fits right in the mold of Derek Nandi and guys like that. DeMarcus Christmas, kind of in that mold when I look at Kevin Wynn. So, and that's just off the top of the head, right? he is already recruiting the tight end Holliston. Well, since we want to talk about tight ends, let's talk about tight ends here because a certain tight end just got a crystal ball from the Fong father himself. Let me bring it up. By the way, on 247, I think Florida State's ranked in the 50s in recruiting, which is so weird to me. Yeah, they're ranked 56th overall. However, if you look at their overall score, I believe it's like a 94. Whereas, again, they're just polar opposites. Whereas On 3 has Florida State as a top 15 class, but their overall score is a 90. So these recruiting sites, you got to make it make sense. But let me get to where I was trying to get to here. I don't want the commits. I want the offers. Here, let me just do it on. You get off of there. My bad, guys. I'm trying to get this stuff on here for y'all. But we got it. Anyways, we got a tight end, as we want to talk tight ends, that just got crystal ball to Florida State out of Nebraska. I believe his dad went to Nebraska. Don't get me to lie to you, but I'm almost positive his family went to Nebraska. I mean, he's from Nebraska of all places. But I'm trying to find him so I can bring him up here. Chase Lofton, there he is. Let me bring up Chase for y'all real quick. Again, since we talking tight ends, my man Chris out here. There he is, Chase Lofton, 6'5.5". So you're talking about a 6'6" tight end out of Millard South, Omaha, Nebraska. I didn't know FSU recruited the cornfields, but apparently FSU recruits the cornfields. And we got Chase Lofton on with a 76% recruiting prediction over Matt Rule in Nebraska. That's interesting. Matt Rule is in a tough spot. Any coach that ever coaches at Nebraska is in a tough spot. Because if you want to be successful, you don't have a lot of talent in Nebraska as is. You have to keep what talent you have. You have to keep a blue chip tight end who industry ranking has him as 286th ranked tight end or player in the country, the number 2 player in Nebraska, and the number 17 tight end in the country. This is all according to On 3. 247 is a little bit. They have him as a 3-star. So 247 is not as high as him, or they're not as high on him. Either way, he's one of the top players. As you can see, regardless of where he ranks nationally, he's either 1 or 2 top players in the state of Nebraska. And you got to keep that guy home if you want Nebraska to ever kind of come. Because you're not going to go up there, and this isn't 1990. You're not going to get a bunch of guys from over the country to come to Nebraska. So you got to keep your talent home. That's kind of a big blow for Nebraska if he ends up at Florida State. But 6'5.5", 213 out of Omaha. I think Omaha is the only city that people even live in Nebraska. So, of course, he's from Omaha. But this Chase Lofton is a guy that we currently have crystal balled to us. Let's take a look at his 247 profile just to see, once again, the differences in the rankings. And let's see if the composite is higher on him, maybe. I said tight end, not offensive tackle. There he is, Chase Lofton. Let me switch that out so y'all can see him on 247. 247 has him as a straight 6'6". And they are not as high on him as you can see in 247's composite. He's still a blue chipper, but he's down in the 300s. They also have a crystal ball for Chase. But that's from Zach. So, but you look at that, you got Nebraska, A&M, Florida State, and Missouri all there in the mix. And it's crazy because his last visit, as you can see, was to Nebraska, and yet he's getting a crystal ball to Florida State. So I don't know how that Nebraska visit went, but maybe it didn't go as planned. Grand Champion was going on. The good news for Nebraska is they have Carter Nelson. 247's ranking is quantity, as on 3 is quality. A lot of teams ranked higher with 15 2 to 3 stars on 247. All I want to know is, can Lofton block? Can Lofton block? Well, let's take a look. Let's see. Can Lofton block? I'm sure his highlight tape won't be a bunch of blocking. And it's in Nebraska, so we're going to have to take that Nebraska tape with maybe a grain of salt, as the competition may not be what some of us are used to watching from the Southeast. But let's take a look at Lofton and let's see. Can Lofton block, catch? What can Lofton do? They had him listed at 6'5", 190. But this is his sophomore tape, by the way. He did not have a junior tape out here. They got him playing just flat out wide receiver out here. And I mean, look at the stands, guys. That's Nebraska football. So as you can see, in this sophomore, he is a legit, or should I? They have him playing just flat out wide receiver. And at 6'6", sure. They just figure you can't. There's nobody that's tall enough. We're just gonna throw the ball up to him. Good use of hands. Okay. Has some breakaway speed there. Nebraska football in the building. Okay. But so far, I think every catch I've seen, I couldn't quite tell there. He hasn't let the ball get into his body. He's catching it with his hands. Right there, I don't think he did. But I don't think you're going to get a lot of blocking on these clips. And the cameraman, you're terrible. You didn't even show us the catch. There's him playing more legit tight end. And even there, I thought he almost took that all the way somehow. Right there, he let the ball get into his body. So, yeah, you're not going to see a lot of blocking, obviously, in this highlight. This is all him playing receiver and taking it to the house for the most part. The stands are fairly empty. This looks like this must have been a big game here, because those are full stands up there. Prime time game. At least on the visitor side, it was full. So you got to assume the home team. Yeah, so you're not going to see much blocking. But that doesn't mean he can't block. It's just you're not going to see it. Josh Petty, thoughts? Let's circle back to that one. 6'6", that's all I need to hear. John Shields says, been missing you a bit. When you coming home? Hopefully October. FSU Tony, you're not late. You are late, but hey, we just getting started. Josh Petty, what exactly are you asking me exactly? Are you asking me, do I think he'll be a Nole? Or are you asking me what I think of him as a player? If you're asking me, do I think if FSU will lock him up, I don't have a clue. I haven't followed any of these recruitments close enough to really give you thoughts one way or the other. His recruitment seems to be wide open at this point, though a lot of people feel pretty good about Petty. But for I mean, Ohio State's still coming after him. Tennessee still coming after him. Stanford, Georgia Tech. Let's take a look at Petty on 3. I would love for FSU to be able to say that in the same class, you were able to get a Solomon Thomas. Is Petty's not ranked that high on 3 apparently. Hold on. Unless they have him as an interior guy. Okay, they must have him as an interior guy. So let's switch over to interior. So yeah, FSU has, on 3 has Petty as the number 2 interior offensive lineman and Solomon Thomas as the number 1 interior. If you can get both of these guys, whoa, buddy. And they will play tackle. My guess is they will play tackle, or they'll at least try them to start them off at tackle. That is my guess. On 3 seems to they got him at 74% right now to come to Florida State. I don't know who's making that prediction, but on 3 seems to be pretty high at Florida State, getting Petty as well. So my thoughts, I just go by what they're saying. Recruitment that FSU's lose. You get me Thomas, you get me Petty. You ain't even got to get another offensive lineman in this class as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, we ain't going to see that blocking, but that's okay. So you got a crystal ball for Chase Lofton. FSU seems to be looking pretty good on the trail. Like I was telling you guys last time we talked, don't panic in June about recruiting. You're getting into the month of July. That's when these kids are going to start committing. And by August, you're probably going to have the core of your class already committed. That's how Florida State has done it the past years. That's how I continue to foresee them to do it coming up. So I was telling guys, don't panic about recruiting in June. And this is why. So what other players or potential guys should we be looking for? Well, you still got a guy like Khalid Lockett. We kind of talked already about CJ Wiley, right? How firm is that commitment? I would argue not very firm. So FSU has to continue to recruit the wide receiver position. Lockett, Brown, I think Brown's people are Gators, from what I understand. I think maybe Dad. I don't quote me on it because I don't know for certain, but I think his people are from went to Gainesville. Even though they have Ohio State as kind of a favorite right now, it's probably more of an Ohio State Florida battle. But let people tell you, Florida State's in the mix there, and of course, just because the kids, got some ties to a place doesn't mean much. FSU's got to continue to recruit these receivers. Again, you missed out on Moore. So a lot of people thought FSU kind of had a lock on that one. Jamie French is pretty much no longer in the mix, from my understanding. Malik Clark is a guy out of South Carolina. Dylan McCutcheon. Again, they got a commitment from CJ Wiley. But take that with a grain of salt. And all of those guys are, with the exception of McCutcheon, but Malik Clark's 6'1". So they still have some work potentially to do. Looks like they're about to get their tight end of the class. They also are recruiting Hollis Davidson. So we'll see if they're able to get him. And then O-lineman, for sure, we know Josh Petty. And then we also know the other guy that was committed to the Gators. Is it Peyton? What's his name? Kirkland? I think it's Kirkland. Peyton Joseph. I don't know where. I got the first name right. I don't know what I was doing on that last name. Peyton Joseph, a lot of people feel like that is kind of, I won't call it a lock, but that might be your offensive line class going forward. So they're recruiting Petty as a tackle and Thomas as a guard. Are we done at running back? I don't think we have any. As far as to have any running, we don't have any running backs committed, do we? Let me check. I'm pretty sure we don't. Not that I can think of. Football recruiting. Let's scroll all the way down to the 50s for Florida State on 247 for some weird reason. But again, they have a score of 94.4. They actually have at 94. Before we get into this running back conversation, think about this now. 247 has Florida State ranked 56th overall for the recruiting class with a total of 7 commits. 1 5-star, 6 4-stars, no 3 stars. An average of a 94.14. That is higher than, first of all, everybody so far rated in front of them. That's higher than Michigan. Obviously, it's higher than Miami. Higher than Oregon. Higher than Auburn. Higher than LSU. Higher than Clemson. Higher than Georgia. Higher than Bama. They have the highest right now average in the country in terms of prospects right now. The only thing that keeps Florida State down is that Ohio State has 21 commits. Alabama has 20 commits. Georgia 17. Florida State has the highest average in the country as far as blue chip, as far as just recruits, period, at a 94.14, according to 247. Take from that what you will. Take from that what you will. Now, let's go on to this running back conversation. So as of right now, Florida State doesn't have any running backs committed. The thought is, I think we covered this on the last live stream, but we can definitely do it again because that's what we do when we're talking recruiting. Can't pronounce his name. Osamane Chroma. That's a guy FSU's recruiting. Byron Lewis is probably the guy. If I had to guess, then you say you get a commit out of, I think Byron Lewis out of American Heritage, 5'11", 200, is the guy that Florida State ends up snagging. I think that other running back there, probably a Georgia lean. Then I'm sure Georgia has a list of running backs, but Tennessee's also in the mix there. Auburn's in the mix there. Matter of fact, if you go just glance at Georgia real quick. No, he would be the top running back in their class. So I'm pretty sure Georgia will make him a priority. So no, I don't think we're done at running back. I don't know if we take two like we did last year with Danzy and Cam. I think we for sure take one, though. I think we for sure take one. Yeah, right here what Grillmaster is saying. I think for sure we get, I won't say for sure, but if I had to pick, Byron Lewis would be that guy that I'm saying we get for sure. They're going to still recruit Chroma, but Georgia's probably going to make him a priority as they have a 3-star running back committed to them as of right now. So, and again, I don't think FSU really needs to take both. I know Mike loves his running backs, but if you think about it, let's do some running back quick math real quick. You're gonna lose LT, you're gonna lose Roy Dell after this year. You could almost guarantee somebody transfers, right? Like, let's not be naive. You're probably gonna have at least one guy transfer out of that room after the year. So that's 3 running backs you're down. Am I missing somebody? I don't think so. Then that class looks like, again, Jalen Lucas, who's considered running back. So that's 4. That's 4 guys off the rip gone after this year in the running back room. So they might take 2. because again, I still think you'll lose a guy in the transfer portal. I just think that's the nature of the beast in college football nowadays. I don't think that's an indictment on anybody. I just think that's the way the game plays out. So who that is, I don't know, but let's just say based off those numbers, Cam, Danzy, Singleton. You probably might want to take 2 running backs I think actually when we go into the numbers, you might actually want to prioritize 2 running backs in this class. Now that I think about it, so yeah, you probably they might very well recruit both of those guys very heavy, and like Peter says, we may get both of those guys because I actually think. Like Grimmaster says, we're going to lose Roydell, Toafili, Holmes potentially. But again, somebody, whether that's Keziah Holmes, Singleton, somebody's going to transfer, I believe. So, yeah. Yes, sir. I think that's fairly accurate. As far as wide receivers go, I'm not so sure they're done on the defensive line, though. If you really, I would say your interior, your interior's looking good. At this point, if you keep the 2 that you have and Wynn and Myon Charles and Kevin Wynn, what I would like to see from Florida State is now you can kind of look for that. And I say this with all due respect. But some of those, the Jamori Flag types, the Nas White type, some of those project guys, now you got to feel a lot more comfortable taking one of those because you have your legit guys up top. Now you can kind of go and take a guy maybe that not as high, but maybe a gem that you think you've discovered, a guy that you can build over the course of a couple of years. So I don't think they're done on the interior, and I'm pretty sure they're looking to add another edge guy. The question is who on the edge? I know they're recruiting Jarrett Smith out of Alabama fairly hard. Is that possible? I don't know. Remember that kid, that Marion Dye kid that we watched that I fell in love with? Well, he committed to Tennessee, so he's kind of out of it, which is unfortunate because I really liked him. I was hoping FSU kind of put all their chips in on him, but he recently committed to Tennessee. And when I look at the rest of this list, it doesn't look like Florida State, other than Jarrett Smith, is really targeting any other big-time ends. But I still don't think they're done on the D-line. And then we know for a fact FSU is going to land. I'm saying it now, and I don't say this a lot in this day and age because of just the way the recruiting game works. Tavion Wallace will be a Nole, and FSU will land its best linebacker commit in 89 years. I don't know when the last time we had a top 3 linebacker in the country commit to us. Like, we went all the way back to D-Jack, and even D-Jack wasn't – oh, yeah, we went to D-Jack, and I think D-Jack was a top 5 player at his position, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the last time. FSU's going to get Tavion Wallace. I'm just going to say that here now. And that's going to be the best backer we've had in a long, long time. Peter thinks we're going to flip Jalen Wiggins. So if you guys don't know who Jalen Wiggins is, that is the young man that's down the street, and he's currently committed to the Gators. And he is a top. If you got Jalen Wiggins, I don't know what his on 3 ranking is, but Jalen would arguably be the best guy in the class, just from a rating standpoint. Composite has him as a top 80 player in the country with a 95 overall grade. Let's see what he is Let's take a look at Jalen Wiggins on 3. I don't know what his grade is on there, but now I'm curious. There he is. So both on 3 and 247 is pretty high on him. On 3 has him as 91 player in the country. On 3, 247 had it as 83. I mean, 10 spot difference, but both of them consensus top 100 player in the country. Rivals is the only scouting service that has him ranked at 239. Throat getting dry there. You can make the argument that Jalen is would be the highest rated D lineman. Now, here's the thing about Jalen that I don't want to say is concerning, but interesting. They have him listed as a defensive lineman. He's 6'5". On 3 only has him weighing 235 pounds. 247 has him weighing 255 pounds. So who's correct? Who's wrong there? I think he's probably closer to the 255 than the 235. But I think the question that is asked is he an interior guy? Is he an edge guy? I don't even think it matters at this point. If I'm Florida State, you got to get a guy from Tallahassee into this class, a top 100 player on defensive line to pair up with the 2 that you got. Come on. 3 that you got. If you get Jalen Wiggins, Kevin Wynn, Myon Charles, and you already got Javion, that might be the best defensive line in the country. I know Georgia has something to say about that. Don't get me wrong, because Georgia is Georgia, and Georgia looks like they're snatching up all of USC's former defensive line commits. Because I know Georgia is looking to get Jarrett Smith and Terry, I believe, who just decommitted from USC, is green crystal ball to Georgia. That's Justice Terry and Elijah Griffin. So as of right now, Florida State would have the best defensive line in the country. But if Georgia cleans up Elijah Griffin, Justice Terry, and Georgia doing Georgia stuff there on the defensive line, obviously. Let's get back to the question. Go ahead, man. Guys, don't feel shy. Put your questions in the comment section. This is that part of the show where y'all already know what we do. We take questions, man. We just chop it up. I hope we get the linebacker named Rainey Sale. I don't know. I'll look him up, though. I only care about Tavion, but more linebackers, the better. So as I look down the list, Rainey, I don't see your boy. So he must be some type of Jim. I don't see your boy, the Rainey Sale kid. Let me go to on 3 before I completely, You know what? Let's just Google this kid. I got too many windows open. But I want to find who you're talking about. Rainey. Hold on. I lost that comment. Rainey Sale. Anybody else know who your boy is talking about? Rainey Sale. There he is, Zadarius. Oh, I'm thinking his first name is Rainey Sale. Okay. Zadarius Rainey Sale. Okay. Got you. Right now, he would be a great get, but a Washington kid. Washington just made the playoff. I don't know if that's feasible. And then you look at his top 3, UCLA, Florida State, Washington. Probably more of a Florida State-Washington battle, but it could even be just a UCLA-Washington battle. West Coast kid, Northwest West Coast kid at that. I would love to have him. I know we got your boy all the way from the West Coast, but let's lock up Tavion out of Georgia. Like if I can get arguably the best linebacker in the state of Georgia to come to Florida State, I'll take that. Everything after that would be a luxury. Do I think we're flipping Wiggins? I don't know. Peter thinks we're flipping him. Me personally, not sure. I would love it. But my guess is Florida's going to make him a priority. So, and say what you want about Billy, but no matter how sucky his teams play, same thing with Mario. Billy and Mario are almost the same coach. On the field, they are garbage, right? On the field, this is Mario. And this is Billy. Like on the field, they are pathetic. Recruiting wise, Billy recruits, man. You can't knock what they do recruiting the ball. When they are recruiting players, you can't knock it. And my guess is they're going to try to make Wiggins a priority. Is Keziah a senior? So we will be losing Keziah. I didn't know Keziah Holmes was a senior. I thought Keziah was a junior. I gotta check your math because I thought it was a junior. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just thought he was a redshirt junior, not a redshirt senior. But he is a senior. He is a senior. So you're going to lose Holmes too. So yeah, you got to take 2 running backs like we were saying. If I was picking between the two, you want both of them. If I had to pick between the two, shoot. Both are good. Both bring certain skill sets. I think my problem is I don't think maybe I can make an argument that it's going to be tough to get, I don't know, the best wide receiver in the state of Texas when you got Sark over there, recruiting Texas like that. I think we'd have a better shot, frankly, at Lockett. That's in my personal opinion. I think we'd have a better shot at Lockett than we do at Vernell Brown. If I'm just being honest with you, even though one guy's from Orlando and all that stuff. Dad, grandpa went to Florida. I mean, that's gonna be tough. If we got him, Randy going to be on cloud 9. I mean, you got Ernie Sims on staff now. Maybe you get, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I like Dylan. Dylan who? Or I can just try to Google him again. You guys giving me names. Again, I'll be lying to you if I said I'm sitting here knowing all these. I have not paid attention to recruiting. Now is the time to start paying attention to recruiting, in my opinion. You're talking about, I don't know who you're talking about, because a bunch of Dylans just hopped up. So let me know who you're talking about there. Vernell, legacy, hard to flip. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that one. I think maybe you get Lockett is just an easier recruitment. That's still going to be a hard recruitment, but Dylan McCutcheon. Okay, let's see. Let's see who Dylan McCutcheon is. Oh, you're talking about the wide receiver. Okay, I know you're talking about. kind of has the same dimensions as your boy Vernell Brown. You can argue that McCutcheon and Brown are the same player, but the same skill set, right? Both are on the shorter end of the wire. Both 5'11", 175. McCutcheon's out of Texas, Brown's out of Orlando. I can respect that. He's pretty high on the composite, not so high on 247, but on the composite, he's a top 100 guy. And Florida State is in the mix for him too. But his recruitment seems open. Texas, USC. It would be very interesting for Florida State if you can go head to head with Texas after the season Texas just had, even though Florida State just had a great season. But we aren't going to address that again. We know what happened there. But the point I'm making is you got Quinn Ewers at Texas, probably a first rounder. You got Arch Manning. He's going to have the hype of being a Manning. We'll see how it plays out when he finally starts playing games. But potentially back-to-back. If you're Texas, you're going to have first-round quality quarterbacks. If you could beat out Texas for a McCutcheon and a Lockett, or McCutcheon or a Lockett, it's a win either way if you can get just one of those two, in my opinion, with the way Texas's offense has started to look. An analyst can do some on-field coach now. It's crazy because he's not crystal ball to anyone, not Texas, us. Yeah, I mean, all that means is his recruitment's open. As the number one wide receiver in the country, all that means is he's listening to everybody. And, no knock on C.J. Wiley, but he's not going to commit to a team and then say, well, my recruitment's still open. So that's just what that means at this point. McCutcheon puts up insane stats. Odell finally woke up. Hey, man, shout out to Odell. My favorite coach. I stand by that. It's all mental. I was saying the things I was saying over the past few years so I can wake him up. I'm going to take responsibility for waking Odell Haggins up, saying what I've been saying. I'm the reason. He was watching me, and he said, I'm going to prove that light-skinned dude on YouTube. I'm just going to prove him wrong. I'm the reason. I like our QB room. I think it stacks up to anyone. Our QB room was good this year. Or, the future of my QB room, you got to be excited about. DJ is DJ. I'm going to stand on that. I think DJ can be successful in this system, but I am not going out there and claiming DJU to be a 3,000-yard passer and throw for 40 TDs. Like, his numbers have been fairly consistent over his career. He's in the mid-2000s, get you about 20-plus touchdowns, won't throw a bunch of picks. That type, like that. That's really what I expect this year. I don't expect 3,000 yards or anything crazy like that. So DJ has played 4 years in college football. Like, this is what it is at this point. You can be optimistic about him, and I am. Again, I like him in our system. I like the way I think we're going to use him with a combination of, I want to say in a way, a bigger Jordan Travis. He's not as explosive as Jordan Travis, but that doesn't mean if you've ever watched DJ run, he can move. You get that 6'5", 250 pounds moving. That's going to be tough for anybody to tackle. So I think DJ will be successful in our offense. I think DJ will and yeah, I agree with that, Matt. I think he can replicate JT numbers for sure, because as good as JT was, especially the last 2 years of his time at Florida State, it's not like Jordan Travis was out there throwing for 4,000 yards either. So I agree with you. He can replicate JT numbers, and we'll be fine. But I really am excited for the future of our room. I think our young quarterbacks stack up with any group of young quarterbacks in the country, from Croman Hoke to even Brock Glenn and Jackson. Those three have me excited. I think Jackson is the sleeper of that room. He might be, and that's not a knock on Croman Hoke. I'm excited for Luke. I think Jackson may be the sleeper of that room. But I'm with that comment all the way, man. I like our quarterback room for sure. I think what FSU did with Keon and Johnny Recruit should consider that. Absolutely. Like I was saying about last time we did a live stream, Steven, I talked about the next step that Alex Atkins has to take as a O-line coach, and it's getting his guys drafted, right? He's recruited. He's brought in transfers. He's had guys transfers out, but he's improved the play on the field tenfold. You get no dispute for me there. But if we want to start landing Solomon Thomas and Josh Petty's in one class, like we're hoping to do this class, and Peyton Josephs, you're talking about like 3 of the best offensive linemen in the country. If you're trying to get those all in one class, we got to start putting guys in the NFL. I think getting Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman to the NFL maybe have started the wide receiver trend. I'm going to tell you right now, the most important player on FSU's, I won't say on the offense, though I could maybe argue on the offense. The most important player for FSU for the receiving core this year for Florida State isn't Malik Benson. It's not Ja'Kai. It's not Tron. It's Hakeem. Hakeem was the 5-star you got out of high school. If Florida State cannot show that 5-star can translate to the college level, I'm not saying that Hakeem has to have a 1,000-yard season, but Hakeem has to have between 500, 700 yards in his true sophomore season, some 5 to 8 TDs. Like that would be a successful season for Hakeem and would absolutely show you that it's taking the next step in wide receiver development and getting guys to that level, and that would open up the 5 stars. It has to be Hakeem, in my opinion. I think he's the most important receiver on the team from that standpoint, from like a recruiting standpoint, if we want to start getting the 5-star wide receivers. So I think our running back, I think so. I think it was Matt. Matt, did you say this? Matt might have said it. I always forget who said the comment, but I think that person that said the comment, it was like a month ago. It was a good comment. It was a good take. FSU's team this year will look a lot like 2022 Florida State. Not last year's team, right, which would be considered 2023. Yeah. Will look a lot more similar to 2022. Where we're going to run the ball heavy with a Trayshawn Ward, Trey Benson type backfield and play some defense. We will be able to throw the ball when need be, but we're going to be able to run the ball whenever we want to. That's what I think. I think our running back room will carry us this year. Our offense will be more consistent this year. It's going to be more explosive. Luke will win the QB job in 25. Irv says, I agree on Hakeem. I still think Hakeem was getting ready to break out last year. Then he got banged up. Amen on Keem. And Matt said, yeah, that was you on the take. So I agree with that take that you said that will look a lot like the 2022 team, which isn't a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. And I agree. We'll have a better defense than the 2022 team. Better defense than the 2022 team. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go out here on a big-time prediction. Y'all can mark it here on June 28th. Actually, I said it on Twitter. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, you should. But I'm going to stand on this one. This is just me, I guess praying to the heavens. But I think Marvin Jones Jr. and Pat Payton and Joshua Farmer are going to be better than Verse, Pat, and Fisk. I'm just going to say that now. All of it a lot of it depends on how damn good and Marvin Jones turns out to be, right? A lot of that depends on how good he turns out to be. But that's what I'm going to say. Do I think the 2022? No, I didn't. I did not say that. Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from, Irv? No one said that. I said this team is going to look like the 2022 team. I definitely did not say that the 2022 team is better. What Matt was saying, that this team will look like the 2022 team with a better defense than the 2022 team. I think that's where the confusion set in. But yeah, no, I'm sticking with what I'm saying. Marvin Jones Jr., Patrick Payton, and Joshua Farmer will be better than Jarrett Verse, Braden Fisk, and Pat Payton. And I get how crazy that sounds. I'm all for it. I'm all for the smoke, but I'm all for bringing bold predictions too. Because at the end of the year last year, I don't think there was a better trio than, but definitely Verse and Fisk. By the end of last year, Verse and Fisk were better than. When was the last time FSU had a defensive duo like that? Tank Carradine and Bjorn Warner. Hell, I don't know. They were all world, all American for sure. So I get it. It's insane. It's crazy. But I'm gonna stick with that because I think Marvin Jones Jr. he complements. I just think having those 2 6'5" bookends with athleticism, and you're finally using Marvin Jones Jr. in the right way. And you're going to see what all the hype was, I think, for him coming out of high school. And then I just think our interior guys are going to be I don't know if better is the right word, but they may complement each other to a degree that Jackson and Farmer and Durjai, I don't know. Let me just say I'm bullish. I'm bullish on the D-line, and I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. And I know it's crazy. He said, no way. I agree with you. Marvin Jones Jr. hasn't done anything. But here's the sneaky truth to this entire FSU football team that some of these players we're counting on, Malik Benson, Roydell, none of them have done anything. Really? They've accumulated some decent stats, but we're asking these guys to come in, the linebackers outside of Cam Riley. We're asking guys to come in. What has Earl Little done at Bama? What does Murphy do at Bama? Right? But we expect Earl Little to be legit. I don't know what people expect of Murphy. I expect him to be okay, at least. So the sneaky truth about this entire football team is we absolutely have guys that we're counting on, but they don't have the track record to prove that they can be counted on. But we're expecting big things from some of these guys. Honestly, I can see that happening. Grillmaster says, dang, that's pretty crazy. I can see it, though. Starting lineup of Pat, Farmer, Jackson, MJJ is pretty good. MJ Trace Poe is the most talented and physically gifted DN Mike has said. I mean, Jermaine, you can't sleep on Jermaine Red Solo. But I hear what you're saying though. Like coming out of high school for sure. Coming out of high school, that's a fact. It all depends on Marvin Jones Jr. and how. That's what the D line depends on. How good is Marvin Jones Jr.? If you would have said Fabo, well, I can't put Fabo in there because Fisk was the better player. So I got to put Fisk. Fisk, that would be me cheating. If I would have said Fabo, you're absolutely right because that would have been me cheating. Fisk was the better player. And I get it. Fisk and Verse by the end of the year were playing at a level that we hadn't seen in a long time. But I'm gonna stick with my guns. What's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm gonna say, dang, it didn't happen. A lot of that was probably from the run. Don't quote me on that, Matt. I actually, but I don't necessarily disagree with you. Again, I don't think the 2022 team as a whole was better because the 23 team's defense was borderline, if not elite. 2023's defense, especially by the end of the year, I put Florida State's defense against any defense in the country, bar none, point blank, period, standing on that 10 toes down. 2022's offense, in my opinion, was better. Not because it had better players, but because that team, in my opinion, had a better identity on offense of what they wanted to be. When FSU brought in Keon Coleman, I think they abandoned their identity to some degree to obviously appease Keon. We talked about that for I think the entire first half of that year last year, where it seemed like we were forcing the ball too much to Coleman. We were forcing ourselves to be more of a passing team when we obviously probably should have been running the ball more. I don't think Matt is off at all when he says with the explosive plays and all that, but that all makes sense when you actually look how the two teams played. 23 was not better than 22. Offensively, I would argue if you take 22's offense, mix it with 23's defense, and the team went undefeated in the regular season last year. But you're talking about that team can win a natty, right? And I think last year's team could have won a natty. You just wouldn't give them the opportunity. But I would take 2022's offense over 2023's offense. I kind of agree with that. I don't think our schedule is very tough. I mean, you do have Notre Dame, but you have the same. But I don't know. I guess the big question is Notre Dame, LSU. Notre Dame has a lot of hype this year, so maybe Notre Dame's a better team. But I mean, LSU last year had Biletnikoff and the Heisman winner, so I don't know if it's harder. You do have SMU as a sneaky team. Obviously, you're playing Georgia Tech and Ireland, I think it is. But it's the same big three for Florida State like it is every year. Clemson, Florida, Miami. Like that's – everybody else is just there for the slaughter, in my opinion. Clemson, Florida, Miami. Back to the comments, though. He said Benson ain't done anything. Linebacker is the most concerning on defense. So from a production standpoint, I don't agree. I don't disagree with you, Ronald. I think, obviously, a lot of people think AZ is one of the best corners in the country. I think AZ's got all the talent in the world. I'm more so on the defensive. I kind of want, like, same way people say they want to see it. I want to see AZ be an every down, lockdown corner. I don't think we've seen that. I'm interested to see how that works out. Like AZ, I'm reserved on calling him what everybody else is calling him. I get it. He probably showed out in spring ball. But then you got to ask yourself, well, who's the wide receivers he's going against in spring ball? Because as we've all said, our wide receiver room this year is young, has some talent, but is very unproven. So I'm interested to see AZ live in action against wide receivers that's not Florida State's. But even saying that, you still have what I believe is a very talented secondary, from Shaheem to obviously, like I said, AZ, even Fentrell Cypress. Quindarius Jones is a sleeper in that secondary. Hussey, we saw flashes of him last year. Kirkland should be healthy this year. I'm going to tell you another sleeper. We talk about Jones. Another sleeper is Barker. And 6'2", 6'3", 200-plus pounds at safety. I'm interested to see the way that guy does in his second year. And then I ain't even mentioned none of the freshmen, right? D-line, I've already told you how bullish I am on the D-line. So linebackers, absolutely. You look at backers, you got Blake Nichols, you got Omar Graham. Cam Riley and DJ are probably the two most guys with production on that linebacker squad. But Murphy and these other guys, I like where our linebacking room sits, though, in terms of talent. Like, I think getting Cam Riley was a big deal. Circling the wagon back on that after he went elsewhere and getting him. He went to North Carolina State and somehow he ends up back here. I think that's a big deal. Getting DJ back, I think, is a big deal because without him, our linebacking core was looking very suspect. DJ has consistently improved throughout the years. And playing alongside Bethune and DeLoach helped him tremendously. They'll probably be asking a little bit more from him this year. I don't know how that plays out. Y'all kind of know how my thoughts on DJ being an every down backer, but we'll see. But getting him back was big. Then you got Cam Riley back. And now you like Cryer. Cryer's talented. Murphy's talented. Blake's talented. So you have talent along with some production. But if there was a position on the defense that I would be concerned about, you're absolutely right. Linebackers. But I will say, total overall depth, our linebackers have not looked like this in a long time. Tatum and DeLoach were great. Thank God none of them really got hurt last year, because had you had major injuries, who was then playing? You can speak to the depth the last few years. Now I think there's more depth, there's more talent in that room, and you actually have some production. A lot of transfers haven't proven anything. I wish we took productive wide receiver one. We could have done much better than Brown and Malik. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I get what you're saying in terms of production, but when you added a guy that could throw the ball 70 yards standing still, that has that type of arm, the thought process was add speed and add guys that can stretch your defense. That's why I believe they went that route. I do feel like our depth on the D-line will be better. We're pretty deep. He was used wrong at UGA. Agreed. If we're talking about Marvin Jones Jr., our D tackle depth is bad. Our D tackle depth isn't great. I've talked about that at length myself. You got Jackson. You've got Farmer. You got the boy from Colorado State. But you're really going to depend on the development of a Daniel Lyons and a KJ. Like those two, Daniel Lyons and KJ are the two that if they are good, then we're actually – and then I think, again, Durje is going to play more interior than he's going to be at the edge. So I think he is a glorified defensive tackle, quite honestly. So with all those numbers, I think you have a decent amount now. But it's going to depend on the development. It's going to depend on how Lyons and how KJ look. And I think this is Lyons. I think he's a redshirt sophomore this year. I think KJ is a true sophomore or is a redshirt freshman. I don't know if he got the red shirt or not. The point is you got some young defensive tackles there and Lyons and KJ that they're going to be the ones to really tell you is defensive are we deep at D tackle or are we going to depend heavily on like a 3-4 man rotation? Jeff Brom's revenge season. What's up, man? I didn't see the Louisville guys in here in a minute. Jeff Brom's revenge season. All right. Heard that Papa John's money is drying up over there, Marco. You sure about that? Lyons and Sampson can be good. Grady's just a guy. Needs Farmer and Durrell to stay healthy. James says he's late to the party. Let's give Fuller's credit. He'll scheme it up. Hey, I told y'all last year about Adam Fuller. I cannot criticize a defensive coordinator that has improved his defense every year. First year, yeah, everybody was on Fuller. Second year, yeah, everybody was still on Fuller. By that third year, I had nothing else to say. And by last year, you can put me on the Fuller fan club. Point blank period. You go ahead and put me on the Fuller fan club. So, yeah, I give Fuller his credit for sure. And I think Fuller has another front 7 that he can play with. Again, linebackers are what they are, but they have a unique mix of talent there that I think you can get something out of, and I think you're going to be able to do a lot of things versatility-wise with that secondary. Which you could even, I think, they got a couple safeties in that secondary that you could probably help that linebacker play. So FSU's pretty versatile. And speaking of versatile, as a Knicks fan, we might be having the most versatile basketball team in the NBA. I know it ain't basketball season just ended, but I just want to put that out there as a Knicks fan. Go Knicks. Hit the like button, guys. 2 hours strong. I'm feeling pretty good. So if we want to keep it up, we can. If we've talked long enough, we can go ahead and jump off here and close it out, as I don't see the comment section moving as fast as it was. So maybe we've asked all our questions. So I don't want to keep y'all later than you've already been kept. As a matter of fact, let's see, what time is it in the States? It's going on almost midnight on the East Coast. Pretty good show, pretty good turnout. Again, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new by chance. Most of y'all aren't new. As a matter of fact, I think I recognize everybody. So just hit my like button, share the video. And yeah, again, I appreciate y'all for coming in and kicking it with your boy. L's up. Our NIL cup runneth over. Okay. What happened? Why y'all lose all them transfers y'all had? But okay, Marco, you got it. Marco, you got it. Do you think Tavion is the most important uncommitted prospect we are recruiting? Ooh. No. It would be great to get him. Again, I know we haven't had a linebacker like that in a long time. I know we have crushed linebacker recruiting, maybe more so than D-tackle recruiting. But it's still a linebacker versus a petty versus interior defensive lineman and edge. Like, just the importance of the position, in my opinion, the answer has to be no. And I love the kid, but if you told me if I had to pick between Petty and Wallace, I'm probably picking the 5-star offensive lineman, right? So that's kind of how I view it. That doesn't mean he's not important, but position groups kind of dictate the importance of a particular player. So, did you watch the Tank versus Frank fight? I did. I thought it was a good fight. I thought Frank fought a very good fight. Tank just has that stuff. Tank just has that stuff. Frank fought a good fight until he gassed out. And once Frank gassed out, he was on the ropes too much, and it was just a matter of time. Ernie Sims will help the linebackers. Quick question. What platform you stream on? I stream on, so I used to use StreamYard. I moved away from StreamYard, which is a solid platform. By all means, if you can use StreamYard. But I use Restream. That is the platform that I use. Restream IO. And the reason I switched was IO just has a little bit more features, and they're constantly updating the app with more features. That's really why I switched out. So that's what I use. And then I link my Twitter page. So I stream on Twitter as well. I think I'm gonna link my Facebook page, and just when I go live, all my social medias are just gonna be all over. So on YouTube, it shows that I only have 49 viewers, but we have over 80 people watching, because I have over 30 people watching on Twitter too. And high five Odell. Shout out to Odell. It's about damn time. Lucas is going to open up our offense a lot. Talk about Jalen Lucas. Yeah, I think so. I think he definitely will be a piece that you can use in the passing game for sure. I don't really think you need to use him as a runner, but you can definitely use him as a runner. They were overrated, poor scouting. They sucked in spring ball. All your transfers sucked in spring ball? That's if it was poor scouting, then whose fault is that? The same coach you're hyping up? Come on, Marco. Don't throw your coach under a bus. Forgot about Petty. Thank you, Noel850, for the $9.99, $10 super chat. He says, if the transfer portal was never a thing. This is a great question. Let me do this. It's a very interesting question. But I appreciate that. If the transfer portal was never a thing, how bad would the ACC be, and would Mike even be our coach? Let me give you the video, and then we're gonna kind of talk about this one. More money, yeah, more money, So this is a interesting. So the transfer portal's changed the game, and the transfer portal has made it so I think the coaches, their leashes are shorter. And let's not pretend like Mike Norvell has not exercised that portal to the fullest. And there's nothing wrong with that, to be clear. I'm not knocking it. I've defended it. There's nothing wrong with it. If the transfer portal never was what it has become, where would Mike Norvell be? I don't know. If we're just going to base it off facts, okay, I'm going to put feelings to the side. And if we just base it off facts, if there's no transfer portal, now we have to go strictly to recruiting. Well, without transfer portal, obviously there's no Keon, there's no Johnny. You weren't recruiting receivers very well. There's no Trey Benson, though I think our running back room would have been fine, just because. No, not a knock on any of our running backs. I think that's just what Mike does. Like, even when we were bad, Jay Sean Corbin and these other guys were having good years running the football, right? But then there's no Tatum Bethune. Thank God for the transfer portal. I'll say that, because if I'm just basing off recruiting, it doesn't look good. But if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk, number one. And two, that's also assuming that the recruiting stays the same. If you're not putting resources into the portal, one would assume more resources go into high school recruiting, and that then they would have recruited better at certain positions. So it's a tough question to answer, right? Oh, my bad. He said, give me that Miami QB throwdown if you can. Do I still have that video? My bad. I got you, though. I actually think I took that one off. I'm not going to lie to you. But I can give you this Miami video. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, I took the Jamie Williams video off. My bad, Noles850. I'm sorry. Next shout out is going to be Randy. If you land, you land Wallace, I'll shout him out for sure. Got no problem with it. We're gonna do you like Kendrick did Drake. Marco, shout out to you. I can't even take it serious. Do you think we're getting Gavin Nix? Perry asks, are we getting Gavin Nix? Well, let's see. Are we getting Gavin Nix? Is that another linebacker? Gavin Nix out of IMG. Yep, linebacker. He is okay. I know who this is now. Nah. I think all the signs point to Miami there. Jeffrey. We're gonna talk some video games. The fact that Colorado is ranked as high as they are is absolutely atrocious. Granted, it's just a video game, so don't Colorado fans come in here and get butthurt about a video game. But yeah, offensively, I'm not that down on the offense, quite frankly. I can see how offensively, I would probably not have them ranked or overall offense 88. I think that's a little high because there's still no running backs to speak of. First of all, they haven't even shown that they want to run the ball. And there's still no O-line to speak of. But I actually think they have a good receiving core. And they have a quarterback who will be a first-round pick, if we're just being honest. Like, if it was me, Colorado's offense would be more in that 85, 86 range. So it's not that big a difference from the 88 that they have. The problem for me is that their defense is rated at 84. In what world is Colorado's defense in 80 anything? You can't name a linebacker, name a defensive lineman. You can't name players on their defense other than Hunter and Shiloh, who I don't think Shiloh's that good. He plays good Pac-12 ball. We'll see how he plays in the Big 12. Hunter, I think, is a better wide receiver than a corner as well. Bro, I don't know where the defense is at 84 in anything. Offense, okay, I'm cool. I would be a little lower on the offense, but 88, okay, cool. Defense, you've lost all of your marbles. You tell me that they have an 84 ranked defense. You telling me Colorado's defense, for comparison, Florida State's offense is 83 in the game. Our defense is 88. Our overall, I believe, is 88. You're trying to tell me Florida State has a worse offense than Colorado has a defense? Get out of here. Wish we could have got Malik. Well, you didn't. I like Norvell without the portal. Can we also say no COVID? I mean, they go together, right? To a degree, James, you're not wrong. They kind of do go together. If Mike Norvell doesn't have COVID year one, is actually able to get out there and build those relationships that a coach needs to build in year one. Actually gets a training camp and all that stuff in year one. You're probably not wrong. They do kind of go together. Two questions. How do you feel about the Knicks move so far? A1. And how do you feel about the Lakers drafting Bronny? Great question. Did y'all know how I do? Two things can always be true. It doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be one side of the fence or the other. Did Bronny make an NBA roster or get drafted because he's the son of LeBron James? 100% yes. And so what? I'm not even a LeBron fan like that. Everybody knows that. Jordan's my GOAT. LeBron's a great player, but whatever. But they took him at 55 of 58. They took him at the 55th pick. Unless a Laker fan can get on here and tell me who would you have them draft at the 55 pick in the NBA draft? What are you complaining about? Now, I will say this. If I'm a Laker fan and he's actually in the rotation, obviously he's not going to be a starter, but you're talking if Bronny's playing 15, 20 minutes a night, I would be then pissed off. But as of right now, just to get drafted, big deal. Who the hell were the Lakers supposed to pick at number 55? Who you want them to pick? Big deal. I find it crazy that people get so upset that LeBron James got his son drafted when families have been inheriting NBA teams and NFL teams for years. Oh, the big word now is nepotism. Okay. Yeah, it exists. And so the hell what? So what? Shout out to LeBron James because guess what? He's looked out for his entire friends and families his entire career. you would have an argument, or people that are so mad about this will have an argument, right? If Bronny was a top 10 pick. If Bronny was a top 10 pick, absolutely. That's egregious. The man was the number 55th pick in the NBA draft. Three picks away from being the last pick. Big deal. Big deal. Again, now if he's playing normal minutes come season time, then maybe there's a problem. But big deal. Colorado ranks on the game is the same how 247 ranks FSU recruiting class. It's all dumb, and it needs to change the algorithms. At the end of the day, it's a game. I really don't care about where FSU ranks because I'm going to get a hold of them, and I'm going to beat all of y'all. At least those of y'all that actually had the fortitude to join the 863 dynasty. There's a lot of people who said they wanted smoke, and when it came time to get some smoke, they went ghost on me. They vanished. But we have 11 spots in the dynasty, all filled up. One more spot to go. And again, I think that spot might be filled. Just got to make sure. But the dynasty is going to be in full force. And I actually think I'm going to be bringing that dynasty to the channel. Might stream some games, might commentate over some games. So we're going to be in there. We're going to be in there on the dynasty. At the end of the day, it's a game. But yeah, I mean, there's no way you look at Colorado and go, whatever. Team that won 4 games has getting a lot of hype this offseason. Shout out to Deion, because nobody brings the hype more than Deion Sanders. That's for sure. That is for sure. So those are good questions, man, to end this thing. I'm getting hungry. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. Got to go get me something to eat. Jeffrey says he'll take a spot if it opens up. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, you can inbox me. You can email me. Just hit me up in the comment section. Hey, what I gotta do to join the dynasty mode or whatever. Again, I think I have a spot open, but we'll see. But yes, I need a new gen console. When I get my console, any Xbox console, nobody you hitting it. The problem is you're getting an Xbox. So, you think Cooper gets some play time? Cooper who? Great show. Thanks, Jen. Can you explain why MJ is the GOAT? Go watch him. Without MJ, there is no the NBA as you see now. OG Anunoby just got. My Twitter is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, Jeffrey. OG Anunoby just got like 200 million. Without MJ, that doesn't exist. That's why he's the GOAT. As well as just all the other stats. Another episode, we can talk about some basketball. Amarion Cooper. Do I think he starts? I do think he'll get some playing time. If we're talking about Duke Cooper, yeah. I think he gets some playing time. I don't think he starts, though. Yeah, your starters should be Shaheem and Conrad. Now, whether that is your starters, I don't know. But the problem is at safety. I think we're pretty deep at safety. At least we got bodies. Obviously, Shaheem, Conrad, Cooper, and Brown, and Kirkland. But he definitely probably should be more of a rotation guy than a starter for sure. But like I said, I'm going to go get me some food. And it's late for y'all. But thanks for everybody who tuned in tonight, man. Hit the like button on your way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. As always, it's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. We're recruiting pretty good. I'm about ready to whoop some of y'all on this game. But I'm going to stay classy. We are out here. Go Noles. We're going to do this again shortly. See y'all next.